Hello everyone, welcome to the very first Hack.com weekly webinar series. We're very happy to have you join us today. We decided that it's time to be even more interactive with our members. One of the ways we hope to achieve that is by providing you with a weekly webinar series. Just give you a very quick rundown of the week that was in the market and perhaps what are some of the things that could unfold over the next 5 trading days, or of course if you're a cryptocurrency trader, all 7 days a week. So to introduce myself, some of you, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with me. My name is Sam Borgi, Chief Editor to Hacked. You can interact with me on Workplace and through email. I will be administrating these weekly webinars. I do have quite a bit of experience delivering weekly updates in webinar format, and we thought that it would be a good idea. Just another great way for us to engage all of you. And of course, as everything that we do here on Hack, your feedback is greatly appreciated. If there's anything in this webinar series that you'd like to see, any kind of improvements that you want, any content-specific suggestions that you have, we'd be more than happy to integrate them. Simply write them down in the workplace, send me an email, whatever you do, whatever you want to do, just let us know what are some of the changes you'd like to see. This is the very first one. It's a trial run, and I am delivering it a little bit later than I normally would. My goal is to have these done by Friday evening Eastern Standard Time. I myself am based in Canada. To have them to you, Friday night. Those of you who spend your Friday nights reading about cryptocurrency, you'll be in luck. Otherwise, you'll have all weekend to review and consider, and we'll move forward with that. And keep in mind, this might be a little bit raw, given the fact that it's the first one, but we hope that it will be smoother as we go along. So, very simple agenda for today, and I hope to keep it simple moving forward because I know that your time is valuable. We want to give you a week in review, look at the biggest developments that happened in the previous week in the market. We also want to give you a brief overview of the global cryptocurrency market, a look at the proportion of Bitcoin relative to altcoins and so on. We want to then give you a recap of Hack.com, giving you a sense of what it was our readers were looking at over the past week, and maybe give you any updates about what we hope is going to unfold at Hack moving forward. Of course, we like to keep you in the loop. Anytime something changes or anytime we have a new feature, you will be the first to know. And then we're going to wrap it up with a what to watch over the next 5 trading days, beginning on Monday. What are some of the developments that you should keep in mind as we move ahead to the new week? Okay, so of course, looking at the weekly overview, the biggest development of the week was the sharp divergence between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. I mean, we haven't really seen anything like this, I don't think, ever. Of course, once Bitcoin Cash was minted in early August, we did see it spike, but it didn't last very long. Ever since then, it's been really trading in a very mediocre range, as a lot of traders really struggle to identify what its intrinsic value was. So this week, we saw a huge reversal as Bitcoin Cash gained over $1,000 in value, while Bitcoin, the original blockchain, lost $1,200. And you see just the extent of the gains here for Bitcoin Cash over the past 5 days, reaching record highs, and even at one point exceeding 2,200, which is pretty crazy if you think about it, given where we were just 5 days ago. Of course, all of this was associated with the SegWit2 upgrade, or the one that did not happen. Most of us were anticipating a major hard fork this week on or about November the 16th as the SegWit2X protocol came into effect. We learned last week that the backers of SegWit2X would not move forward with the fork this week, given the lack of consensus, and we see this quote here by Mike Belshi of BitGo. Unfortunately, it is clear that we have not built sufficient consensus for a clean block size upgrade at this time. He adds that continuing on the current path could divide the community and be a setback to Bitcoin's growth. This was never the goal of SegWit2X. Now, having said that, BitPico, I think that's what they're called, has come out to say that a fork will go on as planned next week, apparently, or this week, I should say. Apparently, they own quite a bit of the hash power, or so they say. We don't know whether this is a hoax or whether it's serious. Not a lot has been written about it, but we did see their update on their cloud website, I think it was on a Linux platform. So take that for what it's worth. Overall, I don't think we're expecting anything to happen, but that's what we know from this mysterious entity or person called BitPico. Something to keep in mind as we continue on this week. Global stocks fell on Trump tax concerns. We saw some struggles on the New York Stock Exchange and Wall Street. European stocks also struggled for momentum as investors really began to toggle the timeline for Trump's tax reform. Of course, the president of the U.S. wants to implement these reforms as soon as possible, even setting a deadline by the end of the year. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen. And based on the latest developments out of Capitol Hill, we see that there may be a delay in the corporate tax plan until even 2019. So we know that the Democrats and the Republicans are divided. The Republicans themselves are also divided on how to move forward. And we're going to continue to see that as we move ahead into the final stretch of the year. Overall, stocks have been booming, but that could perhaps cool down as we approach the holiday season. Should this tax woe or should this tax thing not get resolved? Something to keep in mind. Of course, Q3 earnings have been largely positive on Wall Street. Positive in the sense that they're growing year over year. Something to keep in mind about earnings, right? I mean, earnings are essentially they're tracked on a year-over-year basis, and Wall Street is just coming out of a major earnings recession, so obviously year-over-year growth may not be as impressive as previous periods, but nevertheless, something like 91% of S&P 500 companies have reported Q3 earnings so far. Combined, they've reported a blended earnings growth rate of around 6.1%. So overall, the market or earnings are headed in the right direction. The vast majority of the revenue and the earnings numbers have come in higher than expected. Now, we take a look here at the global cryptocurrency market. This chart is, of course, courtesy of CoinMarketCap, one of my favorite websites for getting the overall lay of the land on the market capitalization structure of the global crypto market. We have over 1,200 cryptos in existence at last check, or around 1,200. Their combined market cap fell back below 200 billion last week. We're currently at around, I think, 190 to 195 billion. We peaked at around 225 billion, I believe, or something crazy like that, as Bitcoin really emerged with its record highs. Bitcoin at one point was valued, I think, between 125 and 130 billion. It continues to be, I think, close to 60% of the total market cap compared to altcoins. And of course, Bitcoin Cash now has surged. In fact, it was briefly valued at over 30 billion earlier this weekend, putting it number 2 above Ethereum. I don't know if anyone is familiar. I mean, Ethereum has been the number 2 crypto pretty much all year long. Not sure when it was ever unseated this year, but we saw that briefly very recently. So that was basically the week that was in the market and an overview of where we are in terms of the global cryptocurrency market cap. At Hack.com, we've been very busy pumping out articles, content, material, and we want to continue to do more. That's why we're doing this webinar series. We delivered 7 ICO reviews this week. I know there was a few days gaps last week. A lot of times that's just the way it happens as our writers are developing these reports. They do take quite a bit of work, the ICO analysis. So usually our goal is to have one to you very regularly. Sometimes you may get a little bit of a delay, but then you'll see the backlog come on in as we review them, finalize them, and post them. 7 this week, including Fund Request. I did that one just recently. Indahash, Vest, Matrix by Nanome, Simple Token, Morai, which I believe was a scam, as well as Kasha. We are broadening our coverage of altcoins. We are listening to you. I know that in the workplace, some of our folks told us they'd like to see more coverage of the altcoins. We are doing a lot more of that, tons more of that actually, and we plan on doing more educational pieces as we move forward. On that basis, the 5 most read articles of the week, these got really good reviews. Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Showdown, Let the Fight Begin, was a very popular article, as was 2 explosive altcoins that are undervalued by the dip. The Bitcoin hard fork, here's your game plan. I mean, I wrote that one thinking that we were for sure going to go down the hard fork road this week. Didn't happen, but you can keep this one bookmarked for the future as the SegWit2 protocol or any other protocol gets pushed. Litecoin, which is one of our most read cryptocurrencies, our traders love taking a look at Litecoin. The running of the bulls analysis was also one of the keepers for the week. And of course, trade recommendation, Bitcoin Cash, was also on the weekly radar. We have added new writers to the mix to give you more value across a range of disciplines, to cover stocks, financial markets more broadly, of course, cryptocurrencies, altcoins, education. Our goal is to give you guys and girls as much resources as possible, and we greatly value your input, and we greatly value your continued membership of our site. Our goal is to become the best crypto site on the planet, and I think that we're going there with the support that you're providing. So, on that basis, I just want to give you a lowdown of what to watch this week. The rivalry between Saudi Arabia and Iran is intensifying. It seems to be now centered over Lebanon. Lots of developments going on there. Also, of course, the ongoing war in Yemen that Saudi Arabia is embarking on. Saudi Arabia and Iran are continuing to fight for dominance of the region of the Middle East, and that's going to have significant implications on the geopolitics of the region. Keep that on the radar, on the front burner this week, as we hopefully don't go into any more violence in that region. Bitcoin price correction is continuing. We broke below 6,000, which seemed to be a pretty important support level. We are in the mid $55, $600 range right now. The correction is ongoing. Keep an eye on that. Equities are struggling for record highs. I mean, they continue to hit records on Wall Street, but the gains have been incrementally slower, incrementally smaller. Usually this means that a correction may be in the works. Keep your eye on that. Junk bonds continue to underperform the market. We expect that to continue. Another thing to really keep in mind and keep your eye on over the next 5 days. The US dollar, which has struggled all year long, appears to have gained ground in recent weeks. Lots of developments. US economic data has improved. Also, there are signs that the Fed will raise interest rates in December. Based on the Fed funds futures prices, it seems to be a lock. So, will the dollar continue higher? Well, there's going to be some economic data this week, some important figures that could help us dictate that, or could help us understand whether that will be the case. Some of the things that you can watch, we released an article covering these exact points. You can take a look at it on the main site. That does it, everyone. We hope that it's been informative. Again, if you have any questions or comments, ping me at sam@hack.com or through the workplace. I'd love to hear from you. And until next week, we will pick it up and hopefully give you another installment of our weekly webinar series.